welcome to 3-Count Commentaries. Today we're going to be talking about Ric Flair returning to the ring. More specifically, we're going to be reading and talking about what John Pollock of Post Wrestling thinks about Ric Flair's return to the ring. And I think he wrote an article that was pretty interesting about the subject. So we're going to be reading that and we're going to be responding to it. But I actually think that Ric Flair returning to the ring is an interesting situation. Of course, nobody wants to see this, but we have, I think, with morbid curiosity, looked at Ric Flair doing his workout videos with Jay Lethal and said, what could it all mean? He's supposed to be wrestling in July, so that's not that far away, but his daughter getting married again this year. I think he kind of want to be alive to see it, but I think she actually getting married in May, if I remember correctly. Charlotte, that's why she's on vacation, because Charlotte is getting married in May. Anyway, here's what Post Wrestling has to say. It says, the major story today was confirmation that Ric Flair will wrestle this summer as part of the StarCast convention in Nashville, Tennessee. The idea of a 73-year-old opting to wrestle is concerning enough before accounting for massive health struggles over the last 5 years. In the summer of 2017, he nearly died after a bowel blockage, kidney problems, and was in a coma for 10 days. StarCast, for a record, that means his son-in-law will be there. Conrad Thompson. Interesting. He continues, a case like this does bring up the topic of proper oversight for professional wrestling. Oh, no. Yes, it is a scripted form of entertainment, but also the athletic endeavor where tragedies have occurred. As we've seen in MMA and boxing over the past few years, a commission isn't always going to act as responsibly, as we have seen some egregious examples of fighters being licensed and fights being booked. He wants an athletic commission to step in and say that Ric Flair cannot wrestle this match. He wants an athletic commission, a government agency, a bureaucrat, to step in and tell a grown man, Ric Flair, that he cannot wrestle a match. Look, should Ric Flair be wrestling this match? No. No, he shouldn't. Ric Flair should not be wrestling this match. He shouldn't even be considering wrestling this match. But Ric Flair is 70 some odd years old. If he wants to die in the ring, he'll die in the ring. All right. If that's what he wants, that's what he wants. I can't tell the man not to do it. I can only say I don't support it. I will be questioning the promoter. I would be questioning the promoter to say, what are you doing? I heard this is going to be, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but I heard it's going to be a 6-man tag and it's going to be the Rock and Roll Express. It's going to be on the other side of this match. And they're on their last tour because both of them are in their 60s. I just don't know how, I hate the idea of Flair and Lawler and the Rock and Roll Express still being in their 60s, working matches, but I also understand that this is what they've been doing their whole life and they can do it in a safe way, even in their 60s and 70s. Then, who am I? Some punk kid who's not even 40, telling them that they can't do what they've been doing since long before I was even born? It's disgusting though. It's quite disgusting. Let's continue what John Pollock says. If the match is indeed a 6-man tag as expected, it lessens the load for Flair, but given history as an indicator, no one believes Flair is just coming in and out for a quick spot or sequence and going to the lengths of training, if not for a larger role than a cameo. He continues, proper wrestling always comes with the potential of injury, paralysis, or worse. The percentages of those outcomes are small, but they are not zero. Often we see incredible risk-taking scenarios and that person walks away from it intact and we all assume he is fine. The check for a performer typically comes due later in life from an accumulation of injuries and, quite frankly, places less of a burden on the fan that can rest on his laurel that, quote, that's what they signed up for, rather than isolating one spot or moment, having an egregious impact on that person's quality of life afterward. Yes, it is it's usually an accumulation. Like, the situation with Draws or Hayabusa, or what Otani is going through right now, those things are very rare occurrences. When you do something and you jack up your spine, it's like, those are very rare occurrences, but they can happen. They can happen falling down the stairs, and these guys take slams and everything. Again, it's not suggested that Ric Flair wrestles this match. I don't suggest it at all. Let's John Pollock continue. WWE has been consistent when it comes to avoiding any physicality for older talent that have suffered significant health ailments such as Jerry Lawler, Ricky Steamboat, and Flair. The company was probably too protective of Bryan Danielson, who returned in 2018, and has not demonstrated any noticeable problems while wrestling at a high level for the past 4 years. And the same can be said for Edge, who has come back at a high level. That said, WWE also put Vince McMahon in the ring this year, albeit for more of a spot than a real match. And for years, they used Mae Young and were lucky to avoid disaster. Yes, and I think that the whole Mae Young stuff is what brings a lot of the sort of confusion, because nobody was talking about how old Gerald Briscoe was or how old Pat Patterson was. I think they were in their 50s at the time. They weren't super old. They weren't in their 70s. But Mae Young was very old. Her and the Fabulous Moolah were really old when they were getting put through tables and stuff. They were really old ladies. As a kid, I didn't think much of it. I thought they was kind of like badass grandmas. You know, I didn't really flip out. I didn't feel sad for them. Maybe it was because it was WWE and, you know, they were getting paid a lot of money for it and they were seeming to be having fun. It kept coming back. But in today's, it's a different world. You know, it's a different world today, man. If Ric Flair was 74 years old and it was 1999, I think everybody would be like, oh shit, Flair about to get in the ring. It's about to be hardcore, bro. It's about to be crazy, bro. What is he going to do? He's an old ass man. But, you know, I think most people are looking at it now with the benefit of having another 20 years and saying, you know, probably not a good idea. I don't want to have to buy Flair a new hip or some shit like that on a GoFundMe or something like that. Like, we don't really want that, you know. But guys like Terry Funk were still working until, you know, I don't know if Terry Funk got dementia now or something, but he was still working. I can't imagine, like, I don't think these guys can imagine not working. I just don't think that he can imagine not working. Let's continue. In an era where a 63-year-old Sting is leaping off balconies with spinal stenosis, wrestlers with once thought career-ending neck injuries coming back, a 76-year-old taking a Stone Cold Stunner at WrestleMania, and El Connect wrestling at Triple Mania, it is easy to avoid the question of how close to the sun we need to fly before something tragic occurs. I prefer being proactive rather than reactive, but the reality is that many won't have an issue with Flair wrestling at the age of 73 or 93. And if Flair can get through workouts with Jay Lethal, he should be fine in a match where he is not carrying the entire load. This event will also demonstrate Flair's image in the public, coming off the Plane Ride from Hell episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Any allegations by Heidi Doyle regarding Flair's actions on the flight in May 2002. Flair has denied the allegation that he made Doyle touch his genitals, but is a subject that almost surely gets revisited if Flair is doing a lot of press for the event. The event, which is being promoted through Thuzio, which is part of Triller, has the same appeal as some of Triller's fight cards, where it's something so crazy that they are banking fans will pay to see it. It is taking place in Nashville over SummerSlam weekend and will have the traditional Sunday night to themselves. The promotion will be unique as they have no television, and this is one that is largely going to be powered by the network of podcasts run by Conrad Thompson, including the one with Flair. StarCast itself is a brand that fans are familiar with, and the goal would be fans buying access to the entire weekend of events as opposed to just the match involving Flair. Okay, so that is the end of the article. While interesting, the idea that we need like some kind of athletic commission to step in and stop these guys from working and doing what they want to do, I reject that outright. I think that the family should step in and pull it. Conrad Thompson is his son-in-law and is going to help promote this damn thing. So that means that the family, at the very least, at least Conrad's part of the family, is going to be in support of this shit. I would really rather sit back and look at this thing and ask the question, why are they doing this? Why are they allowing this? You know, I wouldn't let my dad do it. I can tell you that much. And, you know, if my dad was 73 and trying to do something like that, I probably would have to physically stop him from doing it. You know, even if it means, you know, he has no way there. You know, I wouldn't drive him there, you know, or, you know, I wouldn't give him bus fare to get there. You know, I would take his card so he couldn't catch an Uber there. He would not be doing this match. But to have some bureaucrat step in and stop him just because he's 73. That just seems nonsense. Not all 73-year-olds are the same. You know, Vince has never had any heart conditions or anything like that. So him going out there wrestling is probably still not smart. But it was different because Vince didn't fucking die somewhere and then, you know, get reanimated and come back as, you know, well, he did die. He died on TV. His car blew up. You remember that? No. I mean, literally. He didn't literally die. Like, I think Flair literally died at one point and then was brought back to life. You know, Jerry Lawler died at one point and was brought back to life, and they just kind of like reanimated corpses that won't get the fuck out of the ring. It's a tough situation, but it is what it is. You know, these guys will go for as long as possible. There's another article about, ironically enough, about Bret Hart becoming a senior citizen. And I just thought this was pretty fun, you know, to put in this situation right here next to the Flair story. The article is entitled, Wrestling Superstar Bret the Hitman Hart Grapples with Becoming a Senior Citizen. It is in the Prince George Citizen newspaper. And it says, on July 2nd, Bret the Hitman Hart will have his 65th birthday. And he goes into some of his injuries. He says, you can't fake a body slam, said Hart, who visits Prince George this weekend as one of the guests of the 7th annual Northern Fan Coliseum Center. A body slam is exactly what it looks like. Some 230-pound man picking you up over his head, slamming you down on the ground. You may use your hands and feet to break your fall, but a body slam hurts. It hurt the first day I took one, and it hurt the last day I ever took one as a wrestler. He says, I have a lot of pain issues. I'd be lying if I told you I sleep like a baby. The last couple of months, probably since February, I've been moving a lot slower than I was a year ago. My back is constantly out, and I'm not sure what it's from or why it happened. It's been something I kind of expected, maybe. All those body slams, all those turnbuckles, all those bumps I took as a wrestler, they add up. Then they talk about, you know, him, his career, his life, and everything. But here is Bret, who is, you know, younger than Ric Flair and probably worked fewer matches. But Bret has had a stroke. He's also had significant concussions in the past. I know Flair has dealt with all of that stuff too. But Flair is out here trying to be invincible. The thing is, sometimes, and it seems to be a thing with these NWA guys, that they just never seem to stop. Because Dusty was still working, you know, until he couldn't anymore. And sometimes it's literal. Their body just stops working, and that will stop them from working. Otherwise, they will go out there and do the shtick, and there will still be people out there willing to pay to see it. I would not pay money to watch Ric Flair wrestle. I would not. To me, it's almost like when you go to the circus and you see that these abused animals doing tricks. That's kind of how I feel when I think about all these old dudes working the independents and stuff. Like, if they don't look good, like when I went to GCW, I watched Ricky Morton. He looked good. You know, he didn't look like you know, an old tiger being forced to jump through hoops or anything like that. You know, he didn't have to do any of the blood baths and get hit with anything. But Flair was doing that shit in 2006. This is what led Vince to retiring him in the first place. Again, Flair was supposed to have retired in 2009. You know, so he was supposed to be living off of Legends checks and all this kind of stuff. And now he just will not get out of the ring. It's such a big, it's an addiction. It's an addiction, man. And it is what it is. Like, I kind of feel bad for him. At the same time, I'm like, he's doing what he want to do. You know, I wouldn't tell a 73-year-old actor he couldn't play a part in a movie. You know, so can I tell Ric Flair at 73 he shouldn't be wrestling? I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace.